My husband secretly sold every piece of my heirloom jewelry to fund his business empire. But I had trackers on them, went to the police, and uncovered the double life he thought I'd never find. My name is Rachel Morgan, and if you told me a year ago that my marriage would implode over a diamond bracelet, I probably would have laughed in your face. But now, looking back, I realize it was never really about the jewelry. It was about control, about entitlement, about a man who thought everything I owned was automatically his. I had just gotten home from a 2-week business trip in Vancouver. It had been long, stressful, and all I wanted was to take a hot shower, eat something that wasn't hotel food, and sleep for 12 hours straight. But the second I walked through the front door, I felt it. Something was off. Derek, my husband of 6 years, was lounging on the couch in joggers, sipping a glass of whiskey like he didn't have a care in the world. He looked up at me with this smug little smile and said, "Welcome home, babe." That smile, that damn smile. I'd seen it 100 times before, when he landed a client, when he won an argument, when he thought he'd outsmarted someone. It wasn't warmth. It was triumph. "Thanks," I said cautiously, wheeling my suitcase into the foyer. "You look pleased with yourself." He chuckled, swirled his drink, and said, "I made a big move while you were gone. Huge, actually. You'll see." My stomach tightened. "What kind of move?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He stood up and stretched like he'd just finished a long, productive day. Then he dropped the bomb. "I sold your jewelry collection." I blinked. "You... what?" "All of it," he said, grinning. "Rings, necklaces, earrings, the whole lot. You weren't wearing most of it anyway, and honestly, it was just sitting there collecting dust. So I cashed it in. Used the money to jumpstart my next venture. It's going to be big, Rach. Like life-changing." I couldn't breathe. This wasn't just about expensive things. That collection was my history. Some of it passed down from my grandmother, some from my mom, others I bought for myself. After promotions, after heartbreaks, after milestones. Every piece meant something. "You sold my things without asking me," I said quietly. "They weren't yours to sell." He rolled his eyes. "Come on, we're married. What's mine is yours, right? Besides, it's not like you ever even looked at that stuff anymore. This is going to help us. You'll thank me later." I didn't answer. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything at him, though believe me, I thought about it. Instead, I smiled. Because what Derek didn't know was that I wasn't as careless as he believed. A few months ago, there had been a string of burglaries in Bayshore City, mostly targeting wealthy neighborhoods like ours. I got nervous. So I installed micro GPS trackers in the clasps of my most valuable pieces, just in case. Not because I didn't trust him, but now, I was so glad I had. I went upstairs, locked the bedroom door, and opened the tracking app on my phone. Within seconds, a map loaded, and my heart started racing. There they were, tiny red dots blinking across the city. My sapphire ring was at a consignment store in Midtown. My gold pendant was sitting in a storage unit near the docks. And my mother's diamond bracelet, already on the move, headed out of the city limits. He thought he'd gotten away with it. But I had evidence, dates, locations, movement history, proof. I took a screenshot of the app and sent it to one person I knew would always have my back. Tessa Lynn, my best friend since college, and the one person who could get me off the ledge before I did something drastic. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, you back?" "Tessa," I whispered. "You're not going to believe what Derek did." Her tone changed instantly. "Oh no. What happened now?" I told her everything, the sale, the smug attitude, the fact that he didn't even ask. And finally, the trackers. There was a long pause. "Rachel," she said slowly, "you need to go to the police, like right now." "I will," I said. "First thing tomorrow." And I meant it. I wasn't going to cry in bed or wallow in betrayal. Not this time. Derek thought he could bulldoze me like he always had. But I had receipts. Literal ones. I spent the rest of the night staring at those red dots on the map, watching them blink like tiny beacons of defiance. This wasn't over, not even close. The next morning, I walked into the Bayshore Police Department with my phone in one hand and a folder of documentation in the other. My heart was racing, but my resolve was solid. Derek had crossed a line, and this time, I wasn't just going to let him get away with it. A receptionist took my name, and a few minutes later, I was sitting across from Detective Alvarez, a calm, sharp-eyed man who looked like he didn't miss much. He listened intently as I explained the situation, from the unauthorized sale to the hidden GPS trackers I'd installed. When I showed him the app and the blinking dots still active across the city, his eyebrows lifted slightly. "That's excellent evidence," he said, jotting down notes. "If the tracking data is accurate and these items are confirmed stolen property, we may be able to retrieve them. Do you have a list of what was taken?" I opened my folder and handed it over. Every piece was listed, along with descriptions, estimated values, and photos, some dating back years. "These aren't just assets," I told him, my voice steady. "They're memories." He nodded. "I understand. And since your husband sold these without your consent, that's potentially fraud. Are you prepared to move forward with pressing charges?" I hesitated, not because I wasn't angry, but because this was real now, legal, permanent. "Yes," I said. "I want him held accountable." Detective Alvarez thanked me for coming in and assured me they'd begin contacting the businesses tied to the GPS signals immediately. I left the station with a strange mix of fear and relief twisting in my chest. By the time I got home, the adrenaline had worn off, leaving a pit of exhaustion in its place. I curled up on the couch, still staring at the app on my phone, watching as one of the dots stopped moving and settled in what looked like a private auction house downtown. Later that evening, Tessa came over with takeout and a bottle of wine. "So," she said, handing me a container of pad thai and flopping down next to me. "How did it go with the cops?" I filled her in on everything: Detective Alvarez, the investigation, the potential fraud charges. She listened with that look she always got when she was trying really hard not to explode on my behalf. "You're handling this way better than I would," she muttered, taking a sip of wine. "I'd be at his office flipping his desk by now." I actually laughed. "Trust me, I thought about it. But this is going to hit him where it hurts." She raised her glass. "To you, and to the fact that you're not letting that smug jackass get away with this." The next day, I got a call from Detective Alvarez. "We've confirmed the location of 3 of your items," he said. 2 are at a high-end consignment store in Midtown, and 1 was located in a private storage facility. We've secured cooperation from both parties, and we're beginning retrieval." Relief washed over me. "Thank you," I said, gripping the phone. "Does this mean I'll be getting them back?" "It's looking good," he replied. "But the investigation is still active. And Rachel, there's something else." That sentence always means trouble. "What is it?" I asked, already bracing myself. "We're seeing some irregularities in your husband's financial records, large wire transfers, off-the-books transactions. Some of them are linked to the jewelry sales, but others seem unrelated. It's too early to say for sure, but this may be bigger than we thought." My stomach sank. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about secrets, ones I hadn't even begun to uncover. After I hung up, I called Tessa again and paced the kitchen while filling her in. "They think there might be more going on," I said. "Fraud, maybe worse. They're digging into his business." Tessa didn't even sound surprised. "Honestly, Rachel, I've never trusted that man's entrepreneur energy. He's always acted like the rules don't apply to him." "But how did I not see it?" I whispered. "I married him. I trusted him. And now I don't even know who he is." "You couldn't have known," she said gently. "He's good at hiding things, manipulating people. But this isn't your fault. You're doing the right thing now, and you're not alone." Her words helped, a little, but the anger still burned, low and constant. Not just because he sold my jewelry, but because I had a horrible feeling that Derek Wallace was hiding a lot more than missing diamonds. And I was going to find out everything. It started with a name I didn't recognize. 2 days after my last call with Detective Alvarez, he called again, his voice more serious than before. "Rachel, during our review of previous complaints tied to similar financial patterns, we came across something I think you need to see." He emailed me a scanned police report from 5 years ago, filed in a different county, under a different name, Claire Jensen. The report detailed nearly the same situation I was living through. Jewelry sold without permission, unauthorized transfers, emotional and financial manipulation. The name of the accused? Derek Wallace. My Derek. I felt cold, like someone had poured ice water directly into my spine. I called Detective Alvarez immediately. He was married before? Yes, he said. It appears it was a short marriage. Records show it ended quietly, no charges filed. But what's interesting is that she tried to report him for financial abuse. The case never went anywhere. Lack of evidence, no paper trail, until now. I didn't hesitate. I found Claire on social media. It took digging, but eventually I landed on a private profile that matched the information in the report. I sent a message, not expecting much. But to my surprise, she replied within the hour. Hi, Rachel. I've been waiting years for someone else to say those words to me. Yes, I knew Derek. Yes, I was his wife. And yes, he did the exact same thing to me. We met the next day at a quiet coffee shop just outside Bayshore. She looked older than me by maybe 10 years, with eyes that had clearly seen too much. I tried to warn people, Claire said, sipping her tea with shaking hands. But he was too good at it. He left me with nothing, sold off my jewelry, my car, even took out a loan in my name before disappearing. He used the money to launch his first company. That's the one he bragged about building from scratch. I sat there in disbelief. You were his first investor, I said softly. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. More like his first casualty. We talked for hours. She gave me everything, copies of emails, old bank statements, even a letter he left when he walked out. I forwarded everything to Detective Alvarez. Now we had a pattern, a history. And then things got worse. The next morning, I received another update from the detective. One of the consignment store payments hadn't gone into Derek's personal account, or even a business account. It had been routed to a third party, a woman named Sasha Wynn. The name rang a bell, then it hit me. Sasha was his assistant, the new girl he'd hired 6 months ago, supposedly to help manage logistics for his upcoming business launch. Young, blonde, overly polished, someone I'd seen maybe twice and instantly got bad vibes from. I never thought twice about her, but apparently I should have. She's been receiving funds directly tied to your missing jewelry, Alvarez said. And there's more. We pulled security footage from the storage unit where one of your necklaces was logged last week. She's the one who dropped it off. So now it wasn't just Derek. He had help. And maybe more than just help. I searched Sasha's name online and found her Instagram. Private, of course. But her profile photo was telling. It was a picture taken inside an apartment I didn't recognize, with a very familiar piece of artwork hanging on the wall. My artwork. I zoomed in, heart pounding. The abstract canvas I bought in Greece. The one Derek said had been damaged in a move and thrown away. He didn't throw it away. He gave it to her. I stared at the screen, shaking. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a whole other life. A parallel reality where he sold my things and gave them to someone else. Where he smiled at me in the morning and spent the night in another woman's apartment, surrounded by pieces of my home, my story, my life. That night I confronted him. He came home late, as usual, tossed his keys on the counter like nothing was wrong. I didn't even wait for him to speak. I know everything, I said flatly. Claire, Sasha, the accounts, the artwork, the tracking data, all of it. His body went rigid. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. You're not good enough at it. You've been selling my things, laundering money through your assistant, and pretending you built your empire from nothing, when in reality, you've been draining every woman who ever trusted you. He tried to keep his cool, but I saw the flicker of panic. You went to the police? He asked, voice low. Of course I did, I snapped. And guess what? They believe me because I have evidence, timestamps, paper trails, witnesses, and they're pressing charges. His face twisted into something cold and venomous. You think you've won? You're not coming out of this clean, Rachel. I'll tell them you knew, that you were part of it. You'll go down too. I stared at him, unblinking. Then I guess it's a good thing I recorded everything. For the first time, he didn't have a comeback. He just turned, grabbed his jacket, and slammed the door behind him. And as I stood there in the silence, the fear started to fade. He wasn't in control anymore. I was. 2 days after Derek slammed that door, I got the call I'd been waiting for. "Rachel," Detective Alvarez said, his voice steady but more relaxed than I'd heard before. "We've recovered nearly all of your jewelry. The auction house downtown turned over 6 items. The consignment store handed off another 5. And we secured a full inventory from the storage facility. Only one piece is still unaccounted for, but we're actively tracing it." I closed my eyes and exhaled. "That's incredible. Thank you." "There's more," he added. "The financial fraud investigation has expanded. Between the unauthorized sales, the use of shell accounts, and the connection to Ms. Sasha Wynn, the district attorney is moving forward with formal charges. Your husband is facing multiple counts: grand larceny, fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy." I didn't say anything for a long moment. I wasn't even surprised anymore. I think deep down I'd always known Derek was reckless, but not like this, not criminal. "What about me?" I asked. "Am I involved?" "You're not implicated in any way," Alvarez assured me. "Quite the opposite. Your cooperation, documentation, and the early tracking evidence you provided are what gave this case momentum. You've done everything right." When I hung up, I sat on my kitchen floor, back against the cabinets, just breathing. For the first time in months, I felt like I could. Later that day, I met with my lawyer. We went through the divorce paperwork one more time. My name carefully detached from every business account, every shared debt, every legal liability Derek had dragged into our marriage. "Once this is signed and filed, you'll be fully separated financially," she told me. "Nothing he owes will touch you." "Good," I said, my voice quiet but resolute. "That's exactly what I need." And I meant it. I wasn't just leaving a man. I was leaving behind years of manipulation disguised as ambition. Guilt dressed up as partnership. I used to think Derek was a visionary, a dreamer. Now I knew he was just a thief in a tailored suit. That evening, Tessa came over with Thai food and champagne. "Divorce party," she said, grinning as she popped the bottle. I laughed for real this time. "I'm still in shock." "Rachel," she said, sitting across from me, "you survived him, and you didn't just walk away. You burned the bridge and took back everything he stole." "I didn't get the gold locket," I said, thinking of the last missing piece, the one item the police hadn't found. She leaned in. "Then get a new one, a better one, and this time, buy it for you." Her words stayed with me. A week later, I picked up the recovered jewelry from the police precinct. They'd been carefully cataloged and cleaned, sealed in clear plastic bags with case numbers and initials. I opened one, reached inside, and pulled out the sapphire ring my grandmother gave me when I graduated from college. I held it in my palm for a long time. It wasn't just a ring. It was everything I thought I'd lost. History, resilience, proof that I still knew who I was. Later that night, I sat alone in my apartment, clean, calm, and finally mine. No Derek, no lies, just silence and the distant hum of a city that didn't even know what I'd just been through. And then my phone buzzed. A message. "Derek, you really had to drag it out, didn't you? Hope you're happy now." I didn't reply. What was there to say? He made his choices, and now he was facing the consequences of every single one. Instead, I put my phone down, poured a glass of wine, and opened my laptop. I'd been toying with the idea for weeks, ever since Alvarez mentioned how detailed my documentation was. I had records, timelines, spreadsheets, photos, a whole case file. What if I did something with it? That night, I registered a business name, Morgan Legacy, a curated online boutique for vintage jewelry, with a section dedicated to stories behind each piece. Stories about resilience, betrayal, and women who reclaimed what was theirs. It started with a bracelet and a broken heart. It ended with a business and a name I was proud of. A few nights later, Tessa called while I was sketching out ideas for the brand. "So," she asked, What's next for Rachel Morgan? I looked around the room at the neat rows of boxes, the recovered jewelry glinting under soft lighting, the empty space on the shelf where Derek's things used to be. I smiled. Anything I want,